I'm sitting at the kitchen table when Emily drops it on me. Not during an argument, not after a fight. Just Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m., while I'm sorting through the bills and she's loading the dishwasher. "Nathan, I need to ask you something," she says. Her voice has that careful tone, the one she uses when she's about to tell me the HOA dues went up or that Caleb needs new cleats. I glance up from the electric bill, pencil still in my hand. "What's up?" I ask. She turns off the faucet and faces me. Her blonde hair is pulled back in one of those messy buns that took her 20 minutes to make look effortless. She's wearing yoga pants and a tank top, the uniform of suburban wives everywhere. After 17 years, I know every expression on her face. This one is new. "I want a hall pass," she says. The pencil stops moving. I look at her, waiting for the punchline or the context that makes this make sense. Neither comes. "A what?" I ask. "You know what I mean?" She leans against the counter, arms crossed. One night, just one night to feel like myself again. The kitchen feels smaller suddenly. The overhead light seems too bright. I set the pencil down and give her my full attention. "Feel like yourself," I repeat. "Yes." Her voice picks up speed now, like she's rehearsed this. "Nathan, I've been a mom and a wife for 17 years. I love Caleb. I love you. But I've lost myself somewhere in all of this. I'm 41 years old. I've been married to this woman since we were kids. I know the sound of her laugh when she's genuinely happy versus when she's being polite. I know she puts hot sauce on everything when she's stressed. I know she sleeps on her left side when she's content and tosses all night when she's not. Right now, she's standing in our kitchen. The kitchen we picked out together, with the backsplash she spent 3 weekends installing herself, asking me for permission to sleep with someone else. "Who is he?" I ask. She flinches. "It's not about—" "Who is he, Emily?" I repeat. A pause, long enough for the refrigerator to kick on. "There's this guy at the gym, Eric. He makes me feel alive," she says. Alive. As opposed to what our marriage makes her feel, I guess. I lean back in my chair. The numbers on the electric bill blur together. $97.32. Due on the 15th. "How long?" I ask. "How long what?" she responds. "How long have you been thinking about this?" She looks at the ceiling. "A few months. A few months. While I've been getting up at 6 every morning to make coffee for both of us. While I've been working 50-hour weeks to keep this house we can barely afford. While I've been coaching Caleb's little league team and fixing the garage door that sticks and pretending not to notice that she doesn't look at me the same way anymore. It's just one night, Nathan, just once, to get it out of my system," she says. Get it out of her system. Like it's a cold or a craving for ice cream. "And then what?" I ask. "Then we go back to normal, to us. But I'll be whole again." Normal. United States. Whole. The words bounce around in my head like pinballs. I think about our wedding day, about the first apartment we shared with the broken heater and the neighbor's dog that barked all night, about the way she cried when Caleb was born, and how she made me promise we'd never let anything hurt him. I think about 17 years of building something together, mortgage payments and school conferences and family vacations to the Outer Banks, date nights that became movie nights at home, the slow, comfortable drift from passion to partnership that I thought was normal for couples like us. Maybe it was normal. Maybe the problem is that Emily doesn't want normal anymore. "I need to think about this," I say. She nods too quickly. "Of course. Take all the time you need. But Nathan, please don't make this about you. This is about me finding myself again. Don't make this about me." "Right." She walks over and kisses the top of my head. A wife kiss. A comfortable kiss. The kind of kiss you give someone you live with but don't necessarily desire. "I'm going to check on Caleb," she says. Her footsteps fade up the stairs. I sit in the kitchen, staring at the bills spread across the table. House payment, car insurance, Caleb's school supplies, the normal architecture of a normal life. Something inside me shifts. Not breaks, shifts. Like a foundation settling, finding a new level. I pick up the pencil and finish calculating the electric bill. $97.32, due on the 15th. When Emily comes back downstairs, I'm still at the table. "He's doing homework," she says. "Math." "Good," I reply. She hovers near the doorway, uncertain. "So, we're okay?" I look at her. Really look at her. The woman I married. The mother of my child. The person I've shared a bed with for more than half my life. "Yeah," I say. "We're okay." She smiles then. Relieved. Like she just asked for a small favor instead of permission to detonate our marriage. "Thank you for understanding," she says. Understanding. Sure. That night, she falls asleep quickly. I lie awake staring at the ceiling, listening to her breathe. 17 years of marriage, 17 years of building something together, brick by brick, compromise by compromise. 17 years of assuming we were on the same team. I don't feel angry. Anger would be easier. Anger would be normal. What I feel is clarity. She didn't just ask for a hall pass. She auditioned for a life without me. And now she's waiting to see if she gets the part. The digital clock reads 2:47 a.m. when I finally understand what that shift was, that settling feeling in my chest. It wasn't my heart breaking. It was my patience ending. 3 days pass before Emily brings it up again. I make breakfast, she drinks her coffee, Caleb complains about his math teacher, and we perform the domestic ballet we've perfected over the years. To anyone watching, we look normal, functional. I've gotten good at normal. "So," she says Thursday morning after Caleb leaves for school, "have you thought about what we talked about?" She's using her careful voice again, testing the temperature. "Yeah," I reply. I pour myself another cup of coffee. Black. I stopped using cream years ago, though I can't remember why. "And?" she asks. I turn to face her. She's still in her robe, hair loose around her shoulders. This is how I used to see her every morning before work, soft and sleepy and mine. "I want you to be happy, Em," I say. Her face brightens. Hope, relief, something between the two. "Really?" she asks. "Really? If this is what you need..." I shrug. "Then you should have it." The lie comes easily. Too easily. Maybe I've been practicing deception longer than I thought. She crosses the kitchen and hugs me. Tight, grateful, like I just gave her a gift instead of a loaded gun. "Thank you. God, Nathan, thank you. I know this is hard for you," she says. Is it hard? I inventory my feelings like I'm checking circuit breakers in an electrical panel. Hurt? Yes. Betrayed? Definitely. But hard suggests struggle, and I'm not struggling. I'm planning. "When?" I ask. She pulls back to look at me. "This weekend? Saturday night?" "Sure," I say. I'll be back Sunday morning, early. Take your time." That afternoon, I drive to Durham. Greg Holloway's office is in a strip mall between a tax preparation service and a place that sells cell phone cases. The sign on his door reads, "Holloway Investigations, discreet, professional, confidential." Greg is exactly what Central Casting would order for a private investigator. Early 60s, gray mustache, eyes that have seen too much and judged too little. He used to be state police until his knee gave out. Now he follows cheating spouses and documents insurance fraud. "Marriage trouble?" he asks after I explain what I need. "Something like that," I reply. He quotes me a rate, $200 a day plus expenses, cash up front. I write him a check. "She doesn't know I'm hiring you," I tell him. They never do. He takes down Emily's information, license plate number, cell phone, email address, the basic architecture of surveillance. What exactly are you looking for, Mr. Caldwell? The truth, I say. He nods like this makes perfect sense. When do you want me to start? Saturday evening. She'll leave the house around 7. Any idea where she's going? She says she's meeting friends from yoga. Greg's expression doesn't change, but something flickers behind his eyes. Professional skepticism, maybe, or pity. I'll follow her. Document everything. Photos, timeline, locations. You'll have a full report by Monday, he says. How detailed? I ask. Detailed enough for court, if that's where this is headed. Court. The word hangs between us like a bridge I haven't decided to cross yet. Anything else you need to know? He asks. Just one thing, I say. You sure you want to go down this road? Sometimes ignorance really is bliss. I consider the question. Do I want to know the truth? Or do I want to preserve the comfortable fiction that my wife is just having a midlife crisis that'll pass if I'm patient enough? I need to know, I say. Fair enough. I'll be in touch. That evening, I sit with Caleb while he does homework. Math problems, like Emily said. Fractions and percentages. Everything reducible to clean, simple answers. Dad? Caleb says. Yeah, buddy, I respond. Are you and Mom okay? Kids know. They always know, even when you think you're hiding it perfectly. Why do you ask? I say. He shrugs without looking up from his worksheet. You guys seem different lately. Quiet. Adults go through phases sometimes, like how you like dinosaurs then moved on to baseball, I explain. Is Mom moving on from us? He asks. The question hits like a live wire. Director, innocent, devastating. No, buddy. Mom loves you more than anything in the world, I say. It's the truth, even if it's not the whole truth. Emily might be willing to gamble her marriage, but she'd never risk her relationship with Caleb. At least I don't think she would. What about you? He asks. What about me? I respond. Does she love you more than anything too? I help him with a problem about calculating percentages. If Jenny has 100 marbles and gives away 30, what percentage does she have left? She loves me, I tell him. Sometimes adults just need to figure things out. 70%. Jenny has 70% of her marbles left. The rest of the week passes in a strange sort of suspended animation. Emily is almost cheerful, humming while she makes dinner, asking about my work projects with renewed interest, like someone who's been granted parole and is just waiting for the prison gates to open. I fix a broken outlet in Caleb's room, change the oil in my truck, return library books, normal maintenance activities for a normal life that's about to become anything but normal. Friday night, Emily shaves her legs in the shower. I know because she asks me to pick up more razors when I go to the store. She hasn't shaved her legs in months. Small details that add up to a larger picture. You nervous about tomorrow? I ask while we're getting ready for bed. A little. Good nervous, though, she says. Good nervous. Like she's going on a job interview instead of cheating on her husband. You'll have fun, I say. I think so. She turns to look at me. You're being really understanding about this, Nathan. A lot of men wouldn't be. I'm not a lot of men, I reply. Number, you're not. She kisses me goodnight. Soft, brief, already halfway out the door, even though she hasn't left yet. Saturday evening arrives with the casual inevitability of sunrise. Emily spends an hour getting ready. Shower, hair, makeup. She tries on 3 different outfits before settling on jeans that fit like they were painted on and a black top that shows more cleavage than she's displayed in months. She doesn't look like someone going to meet friends from yoga. She looks like someone going on a date. You look nice, I tell her. Thanks. She checks herself in the hallway mirror one more time. I should be back by tomorrow morning, noon at the latest. Have fun, I say. She kisses me goodbye. On the lips, but briefly. A wife kiss, not a lover's kiss. The distinction feels important. I watch from the window as she backs out of the driveway. Her Honda Civic disappears around the corner, carrying my wife toward her appointment with another man. Then I text Greg. "She just left." His response comes immediately. "On it." Caleb and I order pizza and watch a Marvel movie. Something with explosions and heroes who always do the right thing, even when it costs them everything. The kind of simple moral universe that doesn't exist in real life. "Dad, can we get a dog?" Caleb asks. "Maybe. After things settle down a bit," I reply. "What things?" "Just adult things. Nothing for you to worry about." He accepts this explanation the way kids do when they sense their parents are navigating waters too deep for small passengers. He falls asleep on the couch during the final battle scene, sprawled across the cushions with the remote still in his hand. I carry him upstairs, tuck him in, and return to the living room. The house feels different with Emily gone. Quieter, but not empty. Like the moment after you remove a splinter, the sudden absence of something that was causing pain. My phone buzzes at 11:30 p.m. A text from Greg. Subject arrived at Chapel Hill Marriott at 8:45 p.m. Accompanied by white male, approximately 30 years old, athletic build. Proceeding to room 412. Will continue surveillance. I set the phone aside and finish the movie. The good guys win. They always do in the movies. I don't sleep much that night. Not from anxiety or heartbreak, but from a strange sort of clarity that makes rest seem unnecessary. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about load-bearing walls and structural integrity, about what happens when you remove the wrong support beam. Emily returns Sunday morning at 10:20 a.m. I hear her car in the driveway, the soft click of her key in the lock, her footsteps on the stairs. She slips into bed beside me like she's done 1,000 times before. She smells different, like unfamiliar soap and someone else's cologne. "Nathan?" she whispers. I don't answer. She settles against her pillow, and within minutes, her breathing evens out into sleep. I lie awake until noon, cataloging everything I know and everything I'm about to know. Then I get up, make coffee, and wait for Monday. Emily is almost cheerful at breakfast. She hums while making Caleb's lunch, asks about his plans for the day, kisses his forehead before he leaves for school, playing the role of devoted mother with renewed energy. "How was your night out?" I ask over coffee. "Good," she says. "Really good. The girls and I went to that new wine bar in Chapel Hill. We talked for hours. It felt like being in college again." The lie flows smoothly, practiced. She's thought about this conversation, prepared for it. "That's nice," I say. "You needed that." "I did. Thank you for understanding." She goes to work with a spring in her step, like someone who's just scratched an itch that's been bothering her for months. Greg's report arrives Tuesday morning via secure email. 47 pages of professional documentation, time-stamped photographs, hotel records, bar receipts showing drinks ordered to room 412, security camera stills from the lobby and elevator. The photos are clinical in their precision. Emily entering the hotel with a man who looks like he stepped out of a fitness magazine. Eric, presumably. Tall, broad shoulders, the kind of confident posture that comes from being young and desired. They're holding hands in 3 of the photos. The final image shows them leaving together the next morning. Emily's hair is different, messier. Her clothes are wrinkled. Eric's arm is around her waist, proprietary and casual. I study the photos for 20 minutes, looking for something that might change the equation. Maybe they just talked. Maybe they had drinks and realized they'd made a mistake. Maybe my wife of 17 years couldn't follow through on her plan to sleep with a stranger. The hotel bill tells a different story. Room service ordered at 9:30 p.m. Champagne, strawberries. Late checkout at 11 a.m. the next morning. I close the laptop and sit in my home office for a long time. Through the window I can see our neighbor Mrs. Peterson walking her dog. Life continuing its normal rhythm while mine recalibrates around new facts. The strangest thing is how unsurprised I am. Not happy, not devastated, just confirmed in suspicions I didn't know I had. Like when you finally get the test results that explain why you've been feeling sick. When Emily gets home from work that evening, she's practically glowing, humming while she starts dinner, asking Caleb about his day with genuine interest, playing the role of wife and mother with renewed enthusiasm. "How was your weekend?" I ask over dinner. "Wonderful," she says. "The girls and I went to that new wine bar in Chapel Hill. We talked for hours. It felt like being in college again." Same lie, delivered with the same practiced ease. She's committed to this fiction. "That's nice," I say. "You needed that." "I did. Thank you for being so understanding about everything." Caleb tells us about a science project involving volcanoes. Emily laughs at his description of mixing baking soda and vinegar. I watch her perform the role of devoted mother while the images from Greg's report cycle through my memory. After dinner, she suggests we watch a movie together, something we haven't done in months. She curls up next to me on the couch, head on my shoulder, fingers playing with the buttons on my shirt. "I feel like myself again," she murmurs during a quiet scene. "Good," I say. "I was worried you'd be angry." "Why would I be angry?" I ask. "I don't know. Some men would be jealous about their wives having fun without them. Their wives having fun. That's what she's calling it." "I'm not some men," I reply. "No," she agrees. "You're not." That night, she initiates sex for the first time in months. She's enthusiastic, present in a way she hasn't been in years. Afterward, she falls asleep with her head on my chest, breathing deep and satisfied. I stare at the ceiling and think about foundation shifts, about load-bearing walls and structural integrity, about what happens when you remove the wrong support beam. Wednesday morning, I call a locksmith. The locksmith arrives at 9:30 a.m., 40 minutes after Emily leaves for her job at the real estate office. Professional, efficient, no questions asked. $200 cash to change the locks on both the front and back doors. He hands me 3 sets of keys and disappears into his truck. Caleb is at school. The house is mine. I start with the master bedroom closet, not destroying anything, not throwing her clothes in the yard like some scorned husband in a country song. I fold everything carefully, the way she taught me when we first moved in together. Sweaters, blouses, the little black dress she wore to my company Christmas party last year. Each item gets placed in heavy-duty contractor bags, the kind I use for demolition jobs. 13 bags total when I'm finished, arranged neatly on the front porch like packages waiting for pickup. Her dresser next. Underwear, jewelry, the perfume I bought her for her birthday. The small things that turn a house into a home for someone. I pack everything with the same methodical care I use when wiring a house. Each connection matters. Each detail serves a purpose. The bathroom medicine cabinet, her prescription bottles, expensive face creams, the electric toothbrush she insisted we needed. Everything that marks her territory in our shared space. I'm not angry. The realization surprises me. This doesn't feel like revenge. It feels like restoration, like returning something to its proper order. By noon, I've erased every trace of Emily from our bedroom, our bathroom, our closets. 17 years of shared space reduced to garbage bags on a porch. Next stop, First National Bank. The branch manager, Ms. Chen, knows us both. We've refinanced our mortgage through her twice. She processed the loan for Emily's car, professional courtesy and small-town familiarity. I need to make some changes to our joint accounts, I tell her. She glances at her computer screen. What kind of changes? I want to remove myself from the joint accounts and open new ones in my name only. Different rules apply to individual decisions about joint assets. She walks me through the paperwork. Checking, savings, the money market account we started for Caleb's college fund. My name comes off the joint accounts. The balances transfer to new accounts. My accounts. Sole ownership. sole access. "Is everything all right, Mr. Caldwell?" Ms. Chen asks as I sign the final form. "Just simplifying things," I reply. By 2 p.m., I've redirected my paycheck, updated my direct deposit, and closed the credit cards. Emily will discover the changes when she tries to buy lunch tomorrow, maybe sooner if she checks balances online. I spend the afternoon at work, installing new outlets in a renovation project downtown. Physical labor, hands busy, mind clear. The electrician's meditation. Connect this to that, current flows, lights turn on. Simple cause and effect in a world that makes sense. My phone starts buzzing at 4:30. Emily, probably trying to use her debit card. I don't answer. Another buzz at 4:45, then 5:15. By the time I finish work and head home, I have 7 missed calls and 4 text messages. I read the texts while sitting in my truck in the driveway. "Nathan, my card isn't working. Call me." "What's going on with our account?" "This isn't funny. Call me back." "I'm coming home. We need to talk." Her Honda Civic is already there when I park. She's standing on the front porch, staring at the bags. 13 contractor bags containing 17 years of shared life. I get out of the truck and walk toward the house. She sees me and her face goes through several expressions at once: confusion, anger, realization, fear. "Nathan, what is this?" she asks. I climb the porch steps. She moves aside automatically, then realizes she can't follow me inside. Her key is in her hand, but the locks have been changed. "What is this?" she repeats, louder now. I unlock the door and turn to face her. "Your things." "My things?" "Nathan, what the hell is going on?" she demands. "You wanted a hall pass. You took it. Now you can live with the consequences," I say. Her mouth opens and closes like she's trying to form words that won't come. I don't understand." "Chapel Hill Marriott, room 412, Eric from the gym." I keep my voice level, conversational. "You stayed until Sunday morning, ordered room service, champagne and strawberries." The color drains from her face. "How do you know?" "I hired someone to follow you," I say. "You what?" she gasps. "A private investigator, very professional, very thorough." I pull out my phone and show her one of Greg's photos. Emily and Eric entering the hotel, his hand on the small of her back. "He documented everything." She stares at the screen like it might burst into flames. "Nathan, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you lied to me? That you spent Saturday night with a stranger while I watched movies with our son?" I ask. The words hang in the air between us. I rarely raise my voice, especially not at her. But this isn't about volume. It's about finality. "It was just one night. You said," she begins. "I said I wanted you to be happy. I didn't say I'd stick around to watch you throw away our marriage," I interrupt. Tears start then. Real ones, not the careful tears she uses during arguments. "Nathan, please. I made a mistake. I can fix this." "No, you can't," I say firmly. "Yes, I can. We can go to counseling. We can work through this," she pleads. "Emily." My voice is steady, final. "You auditioned for a life without me. Congratulations. You got the part." I step inside and close the door. The lock clicks with a solid, satisfying sound. Final punctuation. She pounds on the door. "Nathan! Nathan! Open this door! We need to talk!" I walk to the kitchen and pour myself a beer. Through the window, I can see her on the porch, phone pressed to her ear. Calling someone. Her parents, probably. Or maybe her sister. Definitely not Eric. Guys like that don't stick around for the messy aftermath. The pounding stops after 10 minutes. Her car starts and pulls out of the driveway. I watch the taillights disappear down our street, carrying my wife toward whatever comes next in her carefully planned new life. Caleb comes home at 6:30, dropped off by his friend Mason's mom after baseball practice. "Dad, where's Mom's car?" he asks. "She went to stay with Grandma and Grandpa for a while," I reply. Why? I look at my 12-year-old son, still innocent, despite knowing more than he should about the tensions between his parents. In a few years, he'll understand the full scope of what happened here. For now, he deserves a simple answer. Sometimes adults need space to figure things out, I explain. Is she coming back? He asks. The question I've been dreading and preparing for simultaneously. Not to live here, buddy, but she'll always be your mom. That doesn't change, I say. He nods solemnly, processing this with the resilience kids possess when their world shifts beneath them. Are we going to be okay? He asks. Yeah, we're going to be just fine, I tell him. And for the first time in days, I believe it. Emily's father calls at 7:30 p.m. Robert Walsh, retired middle management, golf on weekends, a man who's never particularly liked me but tolerated me for his daughter's sake. Nathan, what the hell do you think you're doing? He demands. Evening, Robert, I say. Don't evening Robert me. Emily's here crying her eyes out. Says you changed the locks and threw her belongings on the porch like garbage. They weren't garbage. I packed everything carefully, I reply. That's not the point, and you know it. What is the point, Robert? I ask. A pause. He's not used to me pushing back. 17 years of family dinners and holiday gatherings, and I've always been the polite son-in-law. Agreeable. Accommodating. The point is you have a family. A son. You can't just tear everything apart because you're upset, he says. I didn't tear anything apart, I respond. Then what do you call this? Consequences. Attorney Jennifer Morrison's office overlooks downtown Raleigh from the 15th floor of a glass building that reflects morning sun like a mirror. She specializes in family law, according to her website. Divorce, custody, asset division. The legal archaeology of failed marriages. She's younger than I expected, maybe 35, with the kind of professional confidence that comes from winning more cases than you lose. Dark suit, minimal jewelry, a handshake that means business. Mr. Caldwell, I've reviewed the documentation you sent over. This is fairly straightforward given the circumstances, she says. The circumstances. She means the photos, the hotel records, the evidence of Emily's infidelity documented with professional thoroughness. North Carolina allows fault-based divorce, she continues. Adultery affects both property division and alimony considerations. Your wife's actions give us significant leverage. Leverage. Legal terminology for the simple fact that actions have consequences. What about custody? I ask. Primary custody should be achievable, especially given the documented poor judgment regarding the extramarital affair. Courts favor stability, and you've maintained the family home, kept your job, demonstrated consistent parenting. She opens a folder containing forms that will legally dissolve 17 years of shared life. Petition for absolute divorce. Complaint for custody and support. Documents that transform emotions into legal facts. Timeline? I ask. 6 months minimum. Could be longer if she contests, but given the evidence. She shrugs. Professional assessment based on professional experience. I sign the papers. My signature looks different somehow. More deliberate. More final. That afternoon, Emily gets served at her real estate office. A process server, polite and professional, handing her an envelope that contains the legal end of our marriage. She calls me 2 hours later. Nathan, please, we need to talk, she says. Talk to my lawyer, I reply. This is insane. You're being vindictive. I'm being practical. What about Caleb? You're putting him through this because you're angry at me, she accuses. I'm putting him through this because you made choices that ended our marriage. I'm just making it official, I say. Silence. Then, I want to see him. Weekends. Pick him up Saturday morning, bring him back Sunday evening. That's not enough, she protests. It's what you get. She starts crying then. Real tears, not manipulative ones. The sound of someone realizing that actions have permanent consequences. Nathan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll never see Eric again. I'll do anything, she pleads. I know you will. But it doesn't matter anymore, I say. Why not? Because trust isn't something you can rebuild after you've nuked it from orbit. Because I'll never look at you again without seeing those hotel photos. Because our son doesn't need to grow up watching his parents pretend to love each other. I do love you, she insists. Maybe, but you love yourself more. That's not enough for a marriage. I hang up and turn off my phone. That evening, Caleb and I order Chinese food and eat it straight from the containers while watching a baseball game. Simple pleasures, uncomplicated by emotional manipulation. Dad, Caleb says. Yeah, I respond. Are you sad about the divorce? Kids cut straight to the heart of things. No diplomatic language or careful phrasing. Sometimes, but not the way you might think, I reply. What way then? I think about this. How to explain the difference between sadness and disappointment, between grief and relief. I'm sad that things didn't work out the way we planned. But I'm not sad about who I am without her, I say. He nods like this makes sense. Are we going to be okay? Better than okay, I tell him. How do you know? Because we're honest with each other. We don't pretend things are different than they are. The divorce proceeds with mechanical efficiency. Emily contests initially, hires her own attorney, threatens to fight for primary custody. Then her lawyer reviews Greg's evidence and explains the reality of North Carolina family law. Adultery matters here. Morality clauses in custody agreements aren't uncommon. A mother who abandons her family for a night with a stranger doesn't present well to conservative judges. Emily's resistance crumbles within 2 weeks. The settlement conference takes place in a sterile conference room with fluorescent lighting and bad coffee. Emily sits across from me with her attorney, a nervous young man who clearly wishes he were handling real estate closings instead of messy divorces. My client is prepared to accept the proposed custody arrangement, he announces. Primary custody to Mr. Caldwell, with visitation every other weekend and alternating holidays. Emily won't look at me. She stares at her hands, occasionally wiping tears with tissues her lawyer provides. Property division? Asks my attorney. The marital home to Mr. Caldwell, along with his retirement accounts and vehicle. Mrs. Caldwell retains her vehicle and personal property. Alimony? A pause. Emily's attorney shuffles papers. Given the circumstances, my client waives any claim to alimony. The circumstances. Everyone keeps using that phrase like Emily's betrayal is weather that happened to us rather than choices she made. Within an hour, we've divided 17 years of shared life into legal categories. Property, custody, support, everything reduced to terms that can be enforced by a court. Emily finally looks at me as we're leaving. I hope you're satisfied, she says. I'm not satisfied or dissatisfied. I'm finished, I reply. With me. With pretending. 2 months later, the decree becomes final. I'm officially a divorced father with primary custody of a 12-year-old son. Emily moves into a small apartment near her sister's house in North Hills. She gets Caleb every other weekend, exactly as agreed. The first time she picks him up, she arrives early and sits in her car for 10 minutes before knocking. When I open the door, she looks smaller than I remember, uncertain. Hi, she says. Hi, I reply. Is he ready? Caleb, your mom's here. I call upstairs. He comes downstairs with a backpack containing clothes, homework, and his gaming device, the possessions of a kid learning to live in 2 places. Hey, Mom, he says. Hey, baby. She hugs him tight, longer than necessary. You ready for our weekend? Can we go to the movies? He asks. Whatever you want, she replies. They drive away in her Honda Civic, leaving me alone in a house that's learning to be peaceful instead of tense. I pour a beer and sit on the back deck, listening to the sounds of a neighborhood on Saturday afternoon. Lawn mowers, kids playing, the distant hum of highway traffic. My phone buzzes, a text from my brother in Charlotte. "How are you holding up?" I consider the question. How am I? Not devastated, not bitter, not even particularly angry anymore. "Good," I text back. "Really good, and I mean it. 6 months post-divorce, I sell the house. Too many memories, too much space for 2 people rattling around in 4 bedrooms. The realtor, not Emily, obviously, gets us a fair price in a market that favors sellers. Caleb and I move into a smaller place closer to his school. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a yard big enough for a dog if we decide to get one. The mortgage payment is half what we were paying before, and the silence isn't weighted with unspoken resentments. "It feels different," Caleb says on our first night in the new house. "Good different or bad different?" I ask. "Just different. Lighter, maybe." Lighter. I know exactly what he means. Emily struggles with the transition. She calls more than the divorce decree requires, usually with questions about Caleb's schedule or school events. Sometimes she just wants to talk, to maintain some connection to the life she gave up for 2 hours with a stranger. "How's the new house?" she asks during one of these calls. "It's good. Caleb likes being closer to school," I reply. "And you? Are you seeing anyone?" The question hangs between us like a bridge she's not sure she wants to cross. "No," I say. "Why not?" "Because I'm not ready. Because I'm focused on being a good father. Because I'm learning to be content with my own company." "You always were self-sufficient," she says. "It's one of my better qualities." A pause. Then, "I miss you. You miss the security I provided, the life we built. But you don't miss me," I reply. "How can you say that?" "Because if you missed me, really missed me, you wouldn't have been able to do what you did." She starts crying. I've learned to recognize the different types of Emily's tears. These are the frustrated ones, the tears of someone who wants to rewrite history but can't figure out how. "I made a mistake, Nathan. One mistake," she says. "It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, a series of choices. You chose to ask for the hall pass. You chose to lie about where you were going. You chose to sleep with Eric. You chose to come home and pretend nothing happened." "I was trying to save our marriage," she insists. "You were trying to have your cake and eat it too." The conversation ends the way they all end now, with her crying and me feeling nothing but a distant sort of pity. I don't hate Emily. Hate requires passion, and I'm fresh out of passion where she's concerned. What I feel is clarity. The sharp, clean clarity that comes from finally seeing someone exactly as they are instead of who you hoped they might be. At work, I'm more focused than I've been in years. Jobs get finished on time, under budget. Word spreads in the small community of contractors and architects. Nathan Caldwell does good work, doesn't cause drama, shows up when he says he will. My business grows. I hire an apprentice, a kid named Marcus, who reminds me of myself at 25. Eager, hard-working, more interested in learning than in cutting corners. "You seem different," my brother tells me during one of his visits. "Settled somehow." "Settled how?" I ask. "Like you know who you are now." It's an interesting observation. For 17 years, I defined myself in relation to Emily. Husband, provider, the reliable one who fixed what broke and paid the bills on time. Now I'm just Nathan, father, electrician, man who keeps his word and expects others to do the same. "I was thinking about what she took from you," he continues. "But maybe it's more about what she freed you from." "What do you mean?" I ask. "You were trying to be the perfect husband for someone who didn't want a husband at all. She wanted excitement, danger, the thrill of being chosen by strangers. You can't compete with that because it's not a competition. It's a pathology." A pathology. Clinical term for something that was never really about me. "She didn't leave you for Eric," he says. "She left you for the feeling Eric gave her, the validation, The temporary high of being desired by someone new. And when that fades, I ask, she'll find someone else, or she'll try to come back to you. Either way, it's not your problem anymore. He's right. Emily's need for external validation, her inability to find contentment in stability and commitment, these are her issues to resolve. I spent 17 years trying to be enough for someone who would never be satisfied with enough. The revelation is liberating in a way I didn't expect. Caleb adapts to our new life with the resilience of youth. His grades improve. He makes new friends in the neighborhood. On the weekends when he's with Emily, I use the time to work on projects around the house, read books I've been meaning to read, remember what silence sounds like. Do you ever think about dating? Asks Sarah, the divorced mother of one of Caleb's teammates. We're at a little league game, sitting in the bleachers, making the kind of small talk that happens between single parents. Sometimes, I reply. But I'm not sure I want to hand someone else the power to disrupt my peace. She laughs. That's the most honest thing I've heard a man say about relationships. Emily taught me a lot about the difference between being alone and being lonely, I say. And I was lonely when I was married. I haven't been lonely since. The game continues. Caleb gets a hit, steals second base, slides into third on a wild pitch. I cheer from the stands, taking pictures on my phone, being present in a moment that belongs entirely to him and me. This is enough. This quiet life, this simple contentment, this absence of drama and emotional manipulation. Emily took 17 years of my life, but she gave me something too. The knowledge that I don't need someone else to complete me. I was complete all along. I just forgot for a while. 1 year later, Emily shows up at the house on Caleb's 13th birthday. Not our old house. That belongs to a young couple now, their first home, their fresh start. She comes to the new place, the smaller house that Caleb and I have made into something that feels like home. I'm washing dishes when I see her car pull into the driveway. A different car now, something smaller and more economical than the SUV she drove when we were married. Downsizing, like everything else in her post-divorce life. Caleb is at a sleepover party. The house is quiet, the way I've learned to appreciate quiet. She doesn't know he's not here. She's brought a present. I can see it through the kitchen window, wrapped in blue paper with a silver bow. She stands on the porch for a full minute before knocking. When I open the door, she looks older. Not dramatically, but in the small ways that show when someone's life hasn't gone according to plan. Tired around the eyes, less confident in her posture. "Hi, Nathan," she says. "Hi," I reply. "Is Caleb here? I brought him something for his birthday." "He's at a friend's house. Sleepover party," I tell her. "Oh." She looks down at the wrapped gift in her hands. I should have called first. Probably, I agree. An awkward pause. She's waiting for me to invite her in, or at least to step aside so she can enter. I don't move. "How have you been?" she asks. "Good." "You?" I respond. "Okay. Different. Still figuring things out." Figuring things out. The eternal project of people who never learn to be content with what they have. Can I come in?" "Just for a minute?" she asks. I consider this. The practical reasons to say no. She doesn't live here anymore. Boundaries are important. Caleb isn't even home to see her. The emotional reasons. I don't owe her anything. This house is my sanctuary. Some doors shouldn't be reopened. "Better if we talk out here," I say. She nods, sets the present on the porch railing. "The house looks nice. You fixed it up." "Thanks," I reply. "Are you happy, Nathan?" The question surprises me with its directness. Emily was never one for cutting to the heart of things. "Yeah, I am," I say. "Really?" "Really." "I think about us sometimes. About what we had," she says. "What we had wasn't real, Emily. It was me trying to be enough for someone who couldn't be satisfied with enough, I reply. That's not fair. Fair? I almost smile. You asked me for permission to cheat on me. You lied about where you were going. You spent a night with a stranger and came home pretending nothing happened. Now you want to talk about fair? She looks away, toward the street where kids are riding bikes and neighbors are walking dogs. Normal suburban evening activities in a world that keeps spinning regardless of individual drama. I miss you, she says quietly. You miss the idea of me, the security, the life we built. But you don't miss me, I tell her. How do you know what I miss? Because if you really missed me, you wouldn't have been able to do what you did. People don't destroy what they actually value. Tears start then. I recognize them. The frustrated tears of someone who wants to rewrite history but can't figure out how. I was lost, Nathan. I felt invisible, like I'd disappeared into being just a wife and mother, she says. Just a wife and mother. You keep saying that like it's a prison sentence instead of a choice you made every day for 17 years, I respond. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You got bored with the life you built and decided to blow it up. You thought you could have your excitement and your security too. You were wrong. She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. What about forgiveness? What about second chances? I forgave you. That doesn't mean I have to trust you again. That doesn't mean I have to pretend you didn't show me exactly who you are when you thought it was safe, I say. People change, Nathan. Maybe, but I'm not interested in finding out. The conversation has reached its natural conclusion. She picks up the present, holds it uncertainly. Will you give this to Caleb? She asks. Of course, I reply. Tell him I love him. He knows. She walks back to her car, movements careful and deliberate, like someone navigating unfamiliar territory. Before getting in, she turns back. I hope you find someone who makes you happy, she says. I already did, I reply. Who? Myself. She drives away, tail lights disappearing into the evening traffic. I stand on the porch for a moment, listening to the sounds of the neighborhood. A dog barking somewhere. The distant hum of air conditioners. The ordinary symphony of people living ordinary lives without drama or betrayal or the need to complicate simple contentment. Inside, I pour myself a beer and sit at the kitchen table. The same table where I help Caleb with homework, where we eat breakfast together every morning, where we plan our weekends and talk about his day at school. This is enough. This quiet house, this simple life, this absence of walking on eggshells around someone else's emotional needs. Emily wanted to feel alive, to feel chosen, to feel dangerous. She got what she wanted, and it cost her everything she had. I wanted peace. I wanted honesty. I wanted to sleep next to someone who chose me every day, not just when it was convenient or safe or socially expected. I got what I wanted too. My phone buzzes. A text from Caleb. Having fun at the party. See you tomorrow morning. Love you, Dad. I text back. Love you too, buddy. Save me some cake. The house settles around me, familiar creaks and sighs of a place that's learned to be home. Tomorrow, Caleb will come back with stories about the sleepover and we'll celebrate his 13th birthday properly. We'll go to the batting cages, maybe catch a movie, definitely get ice cream. Simple pleasures, uncomplicated by the emotional debris of broken promises and shattered trust. I finish my beer and lock the door. The sound of the deadbolt clicking into place is solid, final. The sound of a boundary that holds. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. In the morning, there will be pancakes and birthday songs and the easy laughter of a father and son who trust each other completely. There will be no walking on eggshells, no careful conversations around topics that might trigger emotional explosions, no pretending that everything is fine when it's not. There will be truth. There will be peace. There will be enough. Sometimes you don't have to burn a bridge. You just take your love off it and let them fall. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.